Well, Hillary Clinton has visited more than 100 countries as Secretary of State, but few visits have ended as badly as her trip to Egypt. Elise Labott joins me by phone. She's traveling with the Secretary. She's in Jerusalem with more on what happened. Elise, let's get to that first. Just give us a sense of what happened at the end of the Secretary of State's trip.
Well, Poppy, she was doing a flag raising at one of the U.S. Consulate in Alexandria, Egypt, and she was making some remarks, ironically, about how the U.S. wanted to support Egypt's transition and the fact that the U.S. wasn't picking any winners or losers. That's been a criticism during the trip. There were protesters outside the consulate, and it was a little bit harrowing for her staff and us journalists. When we left, they were throwing bottles of water, they were throwing tomatoes, and they were throwing shoes, which is considered a real sign of disrespect in the Arab world. And they were chanting Monica, Monica. I think it was a reference to Monica Lewinsky. You know, obviously they didn't understand that this was a totally new president, or maybe it was a reference to Bill Clinton, but certainly it was a little bit harrowing. Secretary, though, never in any trouble, never in any danger. Her car and her vehicle were not hit. But one of the Egyptian officials that was walking out with us did get hit in the face with a tomato.
Wow. Completely disrespectful. And, you know, it's interesting, this comes after what seemed like a very welcome reception when she sat down with newly elected President Morsi yesterday. And then I know she also met with the head military leader there and also with Coptic Christians. You said that was a difficult encounter for her as well, meeting with the Christian group.
Well, I think there's a real sense, and her aides kind of alluded to this when we were talking to them, about this sense in Egypt that there's a perception that the U.S. backs the Muslim Brotherhood. In Egypt, you know, obviously not everybody voted for President Morsi. There was a great deal of people that were scared about the Muslim Brotherhood. They voted for the other candidate, Shafiq, who was more aligned with the military council and the old regime. And so when they met, the Coptic Christians and other Christian groups, when they met with Secretary Clinton, they felt that you aren't protecting our rights, you're siding with the Muslim Brotherhood. And what the Secretary said in her speech at the consulate right before this event was, the U.S. doesn't pick any winners or losers. We're looking to help you with your democratic transition. And she's talking to President Morsi to get his act together, get a government together, also telling the military council, get back to your day job, and you know, there's a democratically elected president. It's time to get back to your real job of protecting the country. And so I think there's a lot of questions about U.S. intentions in the region. There always have been for many years, but now that President Hosni Mubarak is gone and there's a new president, the U.S. says this is the guy that was elected, and this is the guy we're going to work with. The U.S. can't pick and choose who they want to work with in this world.
And Elise, quickly, what is the next step? Where is the Secretary headed next?
Well, we just landed in Tel Aviv just a short while ago, took a short ride to Jerusalem. She's in Jerusalem now. She'll be meeting with Israeli officials, Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu, Defense Minister Barak, and President Shimon Peres, among others. A couple of issues on the agenda, obviously trying to get the Israeli-Palestinian peace process back together, but also giving her perceptions about what situation in Egypt. Israelis are very concerned about what's going on the border with the Sinai. You have Syria, Iran, no shortage of issues to talk here in Israel tomorrow, Poppy.
Especially with the kidnapping of those two Americans. And Elise, I know you have a big day, an interview with the Secretary of State, Hillary Clinton, coming up tomorrow. We'll look for that. Great reporting the 6 weeks you've been in the region. Thank you, Elise.